The Toronto Raptors have officially announced their Summer League roster. The Las Vegas Summer League begins on July 10th until July 20th, and the Raps will head in with a good mix of players with a bit of pro experience and some intriguing young rookies. So with that being said, let's break it all down. Here is your Summer League roster, and for anyone listening and not watching, I'll just break it down for you here. You have Jamison Battle, Colin Castleton, Ulrich Shamshay, Tyson Degenhart, Quincy Guerrier, Chucky Hepburn, Jarkel Joyner, Tyreek Key, AJ Lawson, Elijah Martin, Jonathan Mobo, Colin Murray Boyles, Clifford Omarui, Jamal Shed, Anawaniwa Tate Jones, Jacoby Walter, and they're all coached by head coach James Wade. And look, my initial impressions of this team is that they're going to largely hang their hats on defense. I think that's very clear here. There's a lot of physical, versatile defenders on this team, similarly to what you're hoping for the Raptors. That's a team that where you're kind of trying to figure out what the defensive floor of the Raptors is going to be. And you want to see some of that translate here with the Summer League roster, whether it's through CMB, Elijah Martin, even guys like Jacoby and Jamison. How much have they grown defensively? When I talked to both of them when they were at the 905 level last season, both of them mentioned the same things, that like we are here in the G League to work on our defensive game. That is how we're going to earn minutes at the NBA level. The offensive side of the ball is something where our game can scale up and down, but defensively, can we be consistent? Can we deal with physicality? Can we deal with scheme-specific stuff and not get hunted on that end of the floor? And that's something where I'm interested to see how much has that like tangibly develop, where you can really see it out there on the floor. That's what I'm looking forward to some of these guys. And I think the Summer League roster is going to just have a lot of size to it. That by my count, there's 7 players listed 6'7" and above. So they should be good on the glass. They should be good in the paint, and they should be a very physical team. You saw it through the NBA playoffs, just how much that physicality can bring success and how much of a difference it can make in terms of raising the floor of what your team is able to do. And I think this Summer League roster should be able to manage there, and I'm excited to see what they're able to kind of accomplish. And another thing that I'm kind of getting initial impressions off of is that AJ Lawson and Colin Castleton. These are two guys fighting for their roster spots. They have spots with the Raptors right now, but they're on non-guaranteed deals heading into this season. So if you're a fan who's looking for the Raptors to add on the margins, waiving a guy like Lawson or Colin Castleton opens things up for you. So for them, it's added motivation to kind of prove yourselves and keep that roster spot. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to accomplish with that. I also enjoy the continuity that we've seen with the 905, a guy like Tyreek Key, and then also Quincy Guerrier. These are two guys who are kind of staples for the 905 roster last year, even though they had tons of up and downs like the team did with injuries and with just roster turnover. Some of the Raptors rookies coming up and down. But Quincy Guerrier, he's a guy that I'm specifically interested in watching, because if you haven't been paying attention to the CEBL, he's playing with his hometown Montreal Lions, and he's really been more of a lead creator for them. He's averaging 17 and 7. He's been able to do a lot of on-ball stuff there that he didn't necessarily get the opportunity to do with the Raptors 905. So I want to see if he can translate some of that here, bring that back. And he's just an experienced pro who's done this before. So having him on the Summer League roster, I think, should add a bit of a added presence, even though he's still just a guy looking to prove himself like the rest of these players. And I find it funny that Jarkel Joyner is on this roster. 6'1" guard, played with College Park last year. He's a fun, twitchy athlete, but I vaguely remembered him kind of having success against the Raptors 905. So I went and looked at it. His first 2 games against the 905 last year, he put up 30 points and then 22 points. So he clearly left an impression on this front office. He averaged 11.6 points for the season, but he had 2 really good games against them. So it's funny to see him on this roster. Maybe that played a part, maybe it didn't, but it should be fun to watch him as well. And if we're looking at a potential starting 5 for this Summer League roster, you probably look at something along the lines of Jamal Shed at the 1, Jacoby Walter at the 2, then Jamison Battle at the 3, Colin Murray Boyles at the 4, and then you probably, in my opinion, would have Ulrich Shamshay at the 5, at least for the first game, or at least that's what I would hope to see out there as a starting lineup. And again, this is a versatile starting unit, in my opinion. These are guys who can switch comfortably for the most part. I think if you're talking about a weakest defender, a weak link, it's someone between Jacoby and Jamison, and I probably lean Jamison in that regard. But even then, like, these are two guys, like I mentioned, progressing a lot on that end of the floor. So I'm excited to see what they bring at this level. So I don't think they'll necessarily have too many weak spots on the defensive end. And I'm also curious, if you look at that starting 5, who do you kind of operate through more often than not? Like, you obviously have your starting point guard, Jamal Shed, who should be your table setter. But like, if you're looking for go-to scoring or like kind of like hub stuff, like, is it Colin Murray Boyles? If you are a fan or a proponent of the idea that he can be a hub, or you see his upside on offense, like, this is probably your first opportunity to see actions run through him at an NBA level or an NBA style level almost. And then a guy like Jacoby Walter, what is he able to do in year two? Can he create space a bit more effectively than he was able to in year one? He did a lot of that tough shot making and taking kind of stuff, and he found some success with it at times, but like doing stuff a bit easier, making life a bit easier for himself in terms of getting to the rim and creating space. Can he do those things consistently? And will he be able to do that with the Summer League roster and be like more of a main presence for them? That's something I kind of want to see if that proposed starting lineup is coming together. But if you're going to ask me who I'm most excited to watch, I think there's a couple players. For one, again, Ulrich Shamshe, he's just such a unique and intriguing prospect with that blend of size, athleticism, speed, and he's such a raw prospect. So kind of seeing what he looks like. He weighs about the same as he did last year, so his body shouldn't look too different. I am interested to see what it's like in person, obviously, or at least on tape, if it looks like he's filled out anymore or not. But like, just how comfortable does he look, especially on the offensive end? Last season, he did get better as the season went on, but for him, it was a huge part with the 905. It was just like building that confidence offensively. It was a lot of standing in spots, being stagnant, trying to figure out where to be, and then cleaning up stuff off the glass. Like, can he be a bit more involved as a screener? That's an area of his game where I didn't necessarily think was a strength at times. He wasn't the strongest screener in my opinion. So can he kind of show more on that end? Defensively, like, he is coming off a partial MCL tear. So does he still have that burst and athleticism when he's covering space and ground? Is he able to move as effectively on those things? So I'm assuming he will be, like he should, and I think he'll be fine. Obviously, we'll find out if he's on any kind of minutes cap or anything like that. But if he's healthy and he's out there, I'm excited to see what Ulrich Shamshe can accomplish, and if he looks like that first year pro experience really made a difference for him. And Jonathan Mobo is interesting for me because he comes in about 10 pounds lighter than he was last year. And if you were following his kind of experience, especially with the G League, the Raptors have been really invested in this wingification for Jonathan Mobo. Kind of the small ball center stuff didn't necessarily work. His rim finishing especially just didn't translate from the college level. He dunked everything in college, and obviously when he's a 6'7", 6'8" guy, like, you're just not finding that type of success against NBA level defenders. So they are trying to kind of make him more of a perimeter oriented player, more wing stuff. I'm curious to see if you get any of that small ball center lineups with Jonathan Mobo at the Summer League level this year. Or is he going to be doing what he did in the G League? I covered it then that, like, at the G League level, Jonathan Mobo was parked in the corners a lot of the time, working out from there, some high post stuff maybe, but it was not a lot of just like dunker spot under the rim, small ball center type of things. So I'm going to be interested to see what his positioning looks like and how the Raptors are going to use him at Summer League. And then I already talked about CMB, but he's your number 9 overall pick, your first top 10 pick in quite some time. Who knows where the Raptors are picking next year. So I'm excited to see what CMB is like. How much are they emphasizing him offensively? On defense, can he be an anchor almost? Like, he's not going to be asked to necessarily be that at the NBA level, but like, we know what his defensive upside is and how physical of a defender he can be. Can some of that college success translate against NBA level guys? Like, there's all that exciting tape of him against a guy like Jeremiah Fears. Now he was able to blow up his actions and stuff. Like, can he do that against NBA level guards? Is he able to stay out there and switch and not be left on an island? I'm hopeful and optimistic, but this is going to be our first kind of opportunity to see it. So those are 3 guys I'm excited to watch, but I think the roster as a whole should be pretty fun together. One thing I will mention is there is obviously one notable omission here. Gradey Dick is not playing at Summer League. Now, obviously, he is a third-year guy. At that point, I think it is a bit more on just the player. Do they want to be there? Or do they want to continue working in other ways? I believe Ochai Agbaji played Summer League last year, if I'm not wrong. Third-year guy then. So I think it just comes down to preference. But I know Gradey Dick's season did kind of see out towards the end, but if we're being honest, he still did take a massive leap from year 1 to year 2. He started every single game he played. He averaged 14.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2 assists, and he shot 35% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. Now, look, he did only play 54 games, so Summer League could have been a nice ramp-up period for him, especially kind of like a player who needs to be able to deal with physicality and kind of warm up into that. But overall, he did have a successful second season, I think, when he was out there, and he showed his game was able to scale up when he needed to be, especially when guys like Emmanuel Quickley, Scotty Barnes were out. So I'm not necessarily thinking it was a make or break for him to play in Summer League. It would have been nice to watch him. Obviously, as Raptors fans, you kind of want to see him out there and see what he's able to do. But even then, I think a lot of us would have been happy if we got the Gradey Dig plays for 1 or 2 games, dominates, and then you just kind of take him out and pull him early and don't play him from that point so you don't risk injuring him. So that would have been interesting. But we're probably just going to have to wait until training camp now or preseason to see what Gradey Dig looks like. But all in all, I'm not too pressed about it. I will say, like, I'm hoping to see a healthy season from Gradey Dig. I looked at the numbers. Out of a possible 164 regular season games the last 2 years, he's played 114. That's about 70% of the available games in the regular season that he's played in. It's not the most worrisome number, but again, this is a player who came in with a bit of a slighter frame. Even though he's 6'8", he's a bit of a skinnier guy. If you look at off-season videos, he does look like he's filling up finally, so that should help him in terms of dealing with the NBA physicality. But that's something you want to keep an eye on, like the wear and tear of playing a pro season, 82 games. Can he handle that? And so far, he's dealt with injuries or just like fatigue generally in his first 2 seasons. So I'm hoping to see kind of a rejuvenated Gradey Dig, even though he's not playing at Summer League. But look, let me know down below what you think about this Summer League roster. Who are you looking forward to watching? Again, Summer League from July 10th to July 20th. That is your roster. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I know I'm not your usual guy to bring you your news and information and updates, but I gave a shot doing it. Let me know down below how I did. Make sure you also check out the Raptors Republic website. We'll have deeper dives on the Summer League roster. And also, RR's very own Samson Folk will be in Vegas covering Las Vegas Summer League. So be sure to keep a lookout for his content when it comes to that. But until then, I'm Zulfi Sheikh. Thank you for watching and peace.